Hi, I'm Kristen with Lostro Family Farms. We're back here today to answer the question that we commonly get on the farm is what variety do I use if I want to bake bread or pies with your pumpkins? And so I have 8 varieties here today that we're going to talk about and kind of get into and discuss the merits of each one. These are the ones that we typically will recommend for baking, and so let's get into it. So first up, we have our fairy tale pumpkin. This is an heirloom squash, actually, and it is great if you are looking for a large pumpkin to maybe if you're going to can or freeze the pumpkin for use later in the year. But this would be great for large quantities of that pumpkin. So let's go ahead and cut it open. It's a little unwieldy. I guess that would be the first thing I'd say. It's large, so cutting it is slightly more difficult than something smaller. All right, here we go. So we've gotten it open, and you can see that there is a large amount of what we call meat or pumpkin that is available here for harvest. So we'll go ahead and get these seeds out. We'll get this on a baking sheet. We'll put it in the oven for about 45 minutes probably at 375 and let that cook till it's nice and soft. Next up, we have an Italian heirloom. This is called a Chiaga. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, but we are going to open this up and take a look. This one is much smaller than the fairy tale. There are larger specimens. This is just the one I harvested this year. Oh, so you can take a look. A nice wall of pumpkin flesh right here. This is a more yellow looking flesh compared to the orange that we saw in the fairy tale. But we're gonna go ahead and clean this one out and get her on our baking sheet. I'm back. I got our Chiaga cleaned out. It was a little bit harder to get cleaned out. These stringies in here wanted to continue to hold on to the pumpkin. So it's just, as compared to the fairy tale, this is just a little bit harder to clean out. Next up, we have a butternut squash. I've actually never used it in like a bread or a pie. However, I do enjoy it in a soup. So I thought I'd give it a shot. So these are very easy to prepare. I feel like they cut very easily. And as far as the flesh goes, you've got all of this with no seeds in it. So cleaning these out are extremely easy. See, all done. Next up, we have the Cushaw squash. So again, it's something similar to the butternut where we'll chop the top of it off. This is significantly harder to cut. It is a little unwieldy. So the inside here is a little bit more of that yellow compared to that really deep orange. So I'm trying to figure out what the best way of attack would be for this particular squash. I think what I'm going to do is cut the neck here. All of this will be flesh that will be great for our pie or pumpkin bread making. Inside here is where we're going to find the seeds. So I guess you could do one of two things. You could get a giant one of these and just use the neck for your culinary purposes, and then maybe carve the bottom, or you could use the whole thing. So we'll just kind of see how this goes. Okay. And there we have all of our flesh. Okay, so in here we have all the seeds. So I think I'm just going to use the neck for now, and we'll save this other part for something else. All right, next up we have a speckled hound. This is another great one if you just need enough for one pie. So we're gonna go ahead and cut this guy in half. Oh, it took a little bit more. Alright, so again on the inside you see a nice bright kind of yellowish orange center. Again, we have a lot of flesh here to work with. So we're going to go ahead and get these seeds out of here and get this ready to go in the oven. Okay, so those seeds popped right out. Very easy. And look at all that great pumpkin we have to work with. All right, so our last two are very similar. One is an Indian doll, and that is this pinkish fruit here. And we have a blue doll, which is this blue blocky fruit here. So here we go. Wonderful. So again, we have a nice thick edge here and lots of area to work with for pumpkin. All right, we're gonna get this cleaned out as well. Oh yeah, that's coming out of there really nice and easy. And again, I'm just using a tablespoon. There you are, and it's ready to go. Okay. All right, last one, this blue doll. All right. There we go. Oh, and it's got that brilliant center as well. So we're gonna go ahead and clean this out. Again, with all of these, and the reason we recommend them is because of that really thick wall. Our orange pumpkins are great for decoration, but and you could eat them as well, but they are more thin on this wall here, so you won't have as much flesh to work with. And the sugar content is slightly different as well. All right, it's all ready. Of our specimens, getting them ready for the oven. They're all on just a regular baking sheet. This one will have to go in afterwards, but they're all ready. I am going to poke holes in each of these with a fork before they go in. While those are baking, I want to review the ease of preparation for each of these pumpkins. So first and foremost, I think that the hardest one to do was that cushaw, just because of its shape. That long neck made it a little bit unwieldy. However, again, you get a lot out of the squash once it's prepared. The rest of these were very similar. The larger pumpkins were a little bit harder to deal with just because of their size. But again, it just depends on what you're looking for. So if you're really looking for a whole lot to do, you're making multiple pies or would like to freeze it or can it, these are perfect for that. The smaller ones, much easier to get into, very easy to clean. And then I think my favorite though is still that butternut squash, just because it has so much of that meat in it here, and then it's just so easy to clean because the seeds are right here in that center. But as far as the taste and consistency, that is going to come next. Our pumpkins are out of the oven. I still have the blue doll and Indian dolls cooking, but we're going to try the ones that are out so far. So we're going to go ahead and start with this cushaw. Now, as you can see, it didn't quite cook up like I wanted it to. It is a little bit stiff still, but you can still see there's some moisture coming out of it, so it could be used. Getting a whole lot of sugary taste to this squash. It's kind of dry, but again, I think maybe that was partly because of the way I cooked it with this face being up. Maybe I should have used that more bulbous portion of the cushaw squash and face down. That's something I'll need to try for the next day. So the next one we're going to try is this Chiaga. Again, this is that Italian heirloom squash. This has a very thick consistency. Again, I'm not picking up a whole lot of sugary with this, but it would be it would make a great a pumpkin to cook with, because again, you don't have a whole lot of that water in it. The next we'll try this butternut squash. This is sweet. I still get a little bit of nutty in there, but it's very, very smooth. I don't know if I would want to try this. Well, I do want to try it in a bread, but I don't know if it would be as great in a pie. The speckled pound, this eats like a sweet potato. It's very smooth in texture. Got a little bit of that hint of sweetness, but no nutty flavor. The last one here that we're going to try is the Fairy Tale. This is a French heirloom pumpkin. Now this one is a little bit more stringy. These others have more of like a paste consistency. This one has a little bit more of a stringy consistency. Also, I don't know if you can see it in here. Oh, that's a bad idea. There's a lot of water sitting inside this pumpkin. So if you were to use a Fairy Tale, you'd have to drain with a cheesecloth some of this water out of here to be able to use it. It's a little less sweet than the speckled hound, but it again would make a perfect pie pumpkin. Our Indian doll is out of the oven at this point. It's looking beautiful. So we're going to give this one a little bit of a taste test here. Sweet, very smooth texture. This one gives the Speckled Hound a run for its money. Very fantastic pumpkin to cook with. We have our final pumpkin out of the oven. This is the Blue Doll, and it's ready for tasting. So this is also smooth. It's not quite as sweet as the Indian Doll, but I think it would also make a really good pumpkin for pumpkin pie. So what I did with the rest of them, I put them in freezer baggies, getting them ready to put them in the freezer. Overall, the Speckled Hound wins it for me. It had a very smooth, creamy texture, as well as just that perfect bit of sweetness for a pumpkin pie or bread. It was very easy to prepare, put on the pie pan and stick it in the oven. One of the things that I didn't mention, these taller pumpkins like the Fairy Tale, Blue Doll, Indian Doll, they didn't quite fit in my oven as I would like them to because they were so tall. But right on that heels of the Speckled Hound is the Indian Doll. It was smooth, it was not quite as sweet, but I think it would still get the job done. So again, from our farm to your table, enjoy.